Okay, Dwight Lilly back here with a journey down the rabbit hole for Friday, the 16th of August, 2019. I just barely, I hope I sound okay. I just barely got back into my chair here and everything because I had to switch out batteries on 2 GoPros. Yes, 2. I started the show with 1 GoPro. Again, as I said in the first hour, that I was recording this what I'm doing is I'm practicing how to record this radio show and then to have it on video so that I could break the video up into small segments and on topics that I talk about, put it onto a YouTube channel, not the whole. I don't want to put 2-hour radio shows or 1-hour radio shows or 3-hour radio shows all out at one time because, as I mentioned in the first hour, I don't like watching or listening to something that long unless I'm traveling across country or something where I have the radio on listening to I used to listen to the Art Bell Coast to Coast show that way when my wife and I traveled a lot, and it's something that's keep you awake while you're traveling. We used to drive at nighttime, and that was a way of doing that. But so anyway, I know this show today is kind of goofy because I'm off topic a lot, but it's my show. I can do what I want, right? But I hope I'm not boring you with some of this, but it's going towards the future with my media work. I wanted to explain to you guys. I'm doing the same thing here locally on KPFF 97.7 FM here in Southern Nevada, that I'm explaining to the audience so why there's certain noises they're hearing and stuff in the background. It's because I'm goofing with equipment that I'm learning to be familiar with. And also, one of the big reasons I'm doing everything I do is because of that Down the Rabbit Hole Media website that I paid dearly to get set up, and I'm having it managed with a webmaster, and I've had it for 3 years. I've spent a lot of money because, as you know out there, or if you don't, I'm going to tell you, Google that owns YouTube, Facebook that owns Instagram and Twitter, which are the major social media platforms that people go to for entertainment and gathering of information. They're owned and operated by people and managed by people and committees that want to censor out information that does not comply with their narrative of the world. In other words, what they believe is the truth, and everything the rest of us believe is a conspiracy. Now, there's been some very good articles. There's even some YouTube of the amazing Polly, who has a YouTube out there. Now, I'm going to tell you, she's pretty far out there, right, in the far right in her beliefs. She's from Canada. But I'm not talking about her opinions of things, because virtually everything, we've all got an opinion that's somewhat based in our own research. Some people are just liars, granted, but I don't think most people lie. They just are going off the brainwashing and propaganda they've been fed their whole lives. But getting back to this, so to protect the content that I'm producing, and so that it could exist into the future, I've set up this trust in this website, so in a sense, as long as the internet exists, my content will be out there long after I'm dead and gone, off to other places. I think it's important that the information. Now, I've never claimed to be a professional radio announcer, talk show host. I've never been to media training. The TV work I've done, again, I've never been to any type of acting schools or, voice coaching or anything. What you get is just Dwight Lilly right here. and I'm not from the generation of technology. I'm old school, so everything I talk about might seem simple to you guys out there listening, but to me it's a lot of work, because I have to figure out computers and figure out cameras. We never had this type of technology available when I was going through my education. It's all come on in recent time. But But the conspiracy, I mean, I might spend more than one show on this. You'll probably see, I'll listen to other shows about this, because I think it's dangerous out there for people like the, the opinion piece that I read. Even though it's an opinion piece, people often forget that that's an opinion piece and start taking those opinions as the gospel. I always tell you guys, listen to this show, don't believe anything I say. Do your own research. Use my radio show and content as a source of information that maybe I, spur you on to doing your own research on a topic. And you may come up with your own belief about something that's totally different than my own. I don't have a problem with that. I would never censor you in your beliefs, and I hope you wouldn't censor me in mine. We all come from different backgrounds. Since I began broadcasting, since I began broadcasting, I wanted to be very clear to my listening audience that it was my opinions, not that I thought I was telling the truth. I've never thought I was telling, not that I was telling an untruth, I say, I've never thought that I was lying or trying to deceive anybody with any of the content I've produced. I take the research. I acknowledge that I'm a victim, in a sense, like every single human being throughout history, of propaganda. And so when I think about something, I think, well, is this me with already preconceived subconscious beliefs, taking this evidence that I'm trying to build and presenting it? Or is it me setting aside the prejudices and propaganda, recognizing them for what they are, and then setting it out there in the form of a radio show like this is right here? It's a dance along the pinhead here is what it is, because virtually everything that I experienced in my life from birth, pre-birth, in the womb of my mother, onward was propaganda right up until I had an awakening, I guess you'd have to say, of I've always been intuitive and I've always connected with what you out there would consider paranormal, but I've always also been a victim of propaganda that gets into the subconscious mind, just like the rest of you people. I put my shoes on one at a time, my pants on one leg at a time. I went to school when I was in, they didn't have kindergarten when I went to school. I started in the first grade. They didn't have preschool. That came later. Maybe you did. Maybe you're the same age as I am, but at least where I grew up in Washington State, here in the United States, I didn't have it. And so, I was just like you, teacher says, okay, take hold of the person's hand ahead of you, and we each take the hand, each your hands and the hands of another student, and we would march that way to wherever they were taking us. Everything was marching and orders and discipline, and sit there and let me pour your little heads full of propaganda. And so I acknowledge that. I have to. I think each one of you out there should acknowledge it too, that we are all victims of a conspiracy to form a narrative that is the government's narrative, and the government's narrative is that of what I call the super elite evil forces that run this planet. And I call them evil because it is evil, the manipulation and that we go through. Yes, it's evil to manipulate people, and the elites have always manipulated the masses. They've always been the ones that control the narrative. Me, I'm breaking away from it as best I can, and I hope that you out there listening to this take this information and at least use it. So use it in some regard. You're free to copy this and use whatever I'm talking about here, but do add to it. Do some more research. Dig deeper. I'm not going to be around forever. I'm 71 years old. How long am I going to be here? But anyway, I want to go on here now. God, I wasted a lot of time. It's another 10 minutes of, it wasn't wasted. I'm explaining to you what's going on here. Right now I've got a computer screen in front of me, headphone microphone on combination. Later on down the line, because I'm in my radio studio, I have 4 mic setups in here, 4 stations in this radio studio, so I'm going to move the studio around to a sense, not move it around the equipment wise, so that I could be brought using a microphone and headphones from the studio and not the one-piece microphone and headset that I have on. I'd rather be utilizing these. You know, I've got the golden microphone here as an example that Rush Limbaugh uses. I mean, I have very expensive equipment in here, not to be bragging, but I want to put that into use going forward. I've got professional lighting. This radio studio it's a studio. It's also a video studio. I've got backdrops and so forth that I can do interviews in here, do video in here. It's pretty nice studio that I've got set up here, and I want to utilize it. Right now behind me I've got an American flag, and next to the American flag my dear friend Harvey Kaplan, who passed away last October. I bought at his estate sale it says illegal alien, aliens live among us, get used to it, and it's person pointing out into space that looks like a UFO or something. But anyway, Harvey was a great guy. He owned the radio station that I broadcast here locally. Harvey and his wife spent a lot of time researching UFOs and phenomena. They have pictures, they've documentation. I mean, he's an example of why I believe that there's something to unidentified flying objects, you know, that there's ships out there, if you want to call it that, and there's intelligent beings from somewhere else, some other dimension, some other planet, some other dimension. I don't know where they're from. I haven't talked to any of them, and I don't think Harvey ever did. But anyway, Harvey was my inspiration, and he was in film. He worked for ABC television for years in San Francisco and Philadelphia. His dad was a big band leader, and back in the early days, and Harvey grew up in a sense underneath the the studio equipment there. But what a great guy. And he passed away after a courageous almost 4-year battle with cancer. It was horrible, but anyway, I don't want to go off on that. I love the guy dearly, but I learned a lot from Harvey. And Harvey, if you're listening to this, help me out here. I'm stumbling today on this radio show. But anyway, again, this show is a combination of explaining the equipment and what I'm going on here, and what I'm doing with this show, and conspiracy. So let's go on here. You know, I'm reading from an article right now they started reading from in the first hour, and I'm going to back up a little bit. They say responding to pseudoscience takes its toll. They, the scientists, say that. Scientists get frustrated when they have to repeat facts. Now, stop right there. See, it's their theories. Now, if it's peer-reviewed and accepted as facts, as we all know, peer-reviewed scientific data and experiments has been reversed through the future. You know, how much greater example could it be than Albert Einstein's theory that nothing's faster than the speed of light? Yes, there is. Well, thinking, for one thing, is faster than the speed of light. Remote viewers have proven that by being able to project their minds out, you know, thinking of the end of the universe. You're there, just like I covered in last week's show. We are multi-dimensional consciousness is what we are. We're not limited by physical speeds of photons, light waves here on this planet. Here in this galaxy, this solar system, this one universe, the universe that our physical limited eyes can see. You know, if we were to, again, co-opting from last week's show, if we were to open up the different wavelengths that's out there of invisible light, You would see all sorts of different things out there in space. But I want to get off on that again today. I will in the future, though. You can be guaranteed. But the scientist, I stopped there where it said repeat facts. Frustrated when they have to repeat fact or refute the same fallacious arguments. In other words, some argument that I'm making right now to a scientist that there's something's faster than the speed of light, they consider me telling a lie and that they're telling the truth. It's just really frustrating too. They say that they are frustrated. Well, we're frustrated that they believe that they have it all figured out, because they don't. And I would say they don't in most cases. Okay, so like lawsuits, pseudoscience rarely plays to win. The goal is simply not to lose. Getting people to doubt science counts as a victory. I have no pleasure in outing a scientist. I don't know where they're coming up with these statements at. See, this is their own weakness, I guess you'd have to say, their own conspiracy in their own mind, that in some way Dwight Lilly on A Journey Down the Rabbit Hole on Revolution Radio is attacking them. I'm not attacking them. I don't have anything against them personally. I don't think you listeners out there attack me if you talk about me personally. You don't know me. You have never met me. Some of you probably have met me in person, but I'm talking about the general audience out there from around the world where this show's being broadcast. You don't know me. So what would you have to attack me about? And you don't see me unless you've gone to my Facebook page, Dwight Lilly, or go to my YouTube channel. What? Dwight Lilly. I go there, you'll see me in action. But you don't know me. We've never sat down over a cup of cappuccino, which is what I'm drinking right now, with my chicken cup. And thank God. Anyway.